Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Fear the GreatWhite. A little something different with the first of this video. Something that's kind of been on my heart for a while, especially today. If y'all don't want to watch it, the actual video starts about 5 minutes in. This is a tribute to my mom. I love you guys. I'm Fear the GreatWhite. Stick around.
Go away to door, how I wonder what you are. Up a diamond in the sky, winkle, little door, how I wonder what you are.
That was Taylor, October the 26th, 2012. Okay, have a kitty doll. Sing it.
Go away to door, how I wonder what you are. Up a diamond in the sky, winkle, little door, how I wonder what you are.
That was Taylor, October the 26th, 2012. Okay, have a kitty doll. Sing it.
Go away to door, how I wonder what you are. Up a diamond in the sky, winkle, little door, how I wonder what you are.
That was Taylor, October the 26th, 2012. Okay, have a kitty doll. Sing it.
Go away to door, how I wonder what you are. Up a diamond in the sky, winkle, little door, how I wonder what you are.
That was Taylor, October the 26th, 2012. Okay, have a kitty doll. Sing it.
Go away to door, how I wonder what you are. Up a diamond in the sky, winkle, little door, how I wonder what you are.
That was Taylor, October the 26th, 2012. Okay, have a kitty doll. Sing it.
Go away to door, how I wonder what you are. Up a diamond in the sky, winkle, little door, how I wonder what you are.
That was Taylor, October the 26th, 2012. Okay, have a kitty doll. Sing it.
Go away to door, how I wonder what you are. Up a diamond in the sky, winkle, little door, how I wonder what you are.
That was Taylor, October the 26th, 2012. Okay, have a kitty doll. Sing it.
Go little door on our way.
What's up, family? Guess who's back? It's me, Fear the GreatWhite. Oh, how I've missed you all so very, very much. Sorry for the unexpected absence. Slight technical difficulties for a few days, but I am back. Everything is right in the world. And I've got a special treat for you today. Our very first subscriber submitted story, written by subscriber to this channel and Reddit user Zed Belinsky. It's called My Grandfather Lived in the Warsaw Ghetto. My grandfather lived in Poland during World War II. He used to tell me stories about it. He died several months ago, so I thought that it would be worthwhile to share some of his stories with you. My grandfather was living in Warsaw when Germany invaded. It caught many people by surprise, including my grandfather. The Germans came like a tempest. They swept through the streets of Warsaw with their tanks and their guns and their thirst for blood. My grandfather watched as the city he lived in was ransacked before his very eyes. He told me that the soldiers who invaded couldn't have been human. They were devils who seemed to enjoy executing men, women, and children. They didn't care. They only wanted to see blood. People would try to hide in their apartment buildings, but they were trapped like foxes that had been cornered by hunters. The Germans would surround these buildings, throwing rocks through the windows and ordering people to come out. The people remained in hiding. So the Germans set entire buildings on fire. My grandfather listened to the screams of innocent people being burned alive. Some people tried to jump from their windows. Many fell to their deaths. Those that survived were quickly executed by German firing squads. One man who had been set ablaze jumped from a second-story window and desperately tried to put out the flames. The Germans laughed as they watched this man slowly burn to death, his skin turning first into boils and then to charcoal. A few soldiers walked over to the charred carcass of the man and kicked it. The residents who hadn't been killed were rounded up. They formed ranks while the Germans decided their fate. They were either to be sent to labor camps or to remain in Warsaw, which was now officially under German occupation. My grandfather recounted how there had been a woman standing next to him. She was wearing a torn dress and a veil on her head. She was sobbing. Her wails had attracted one of the higher-ranking officers. He came over to her and asked if she wanted to live. She nodded her head and pleaded for her life. The officer told her to run as far away as she could. The woman looked at him, not sure if he was being serious. Then the officer barked, "Schnell!" and the woman took off. She tried to run, but it was more of a stumble as her legs were constricted by the dress. When the woman made it about 10 yards, the officer turned to his soldiers and nodded. They raised their weapons at the fleeing woman, and buried several bullets into her back. She fell to the ground and did not get up. The people who had been captured all let out gasps and cries, including my grandfather, who thought this place would be his grave. Nobody knew if the next step they took would be their last. The officers then assigned the prisoners and made them go through an identification process. And whenever it seemed to please them, one of the soldiers would pull out a victim from the crowd. They would tell them to lay down on their stomachs and then bury a bullet into the back of their heads. Many people, my grandfather included, prayed to God for salvation, but on this day, God had turned his back on the city of Warsaw. My grandfather was assigned to remain in Warsaw along with 400,000 other people. They were confined to a mere square mile, their freedom blocked off by impassable walls on all sides. Imagine being on a crowded bus, one which you are not allowed off of. The scent of body odor and fecal matter was overwhelming, as hygiene and sewage systems were forgotten. The dirty smell attracted many pests. While people attempted to sleep, the rats would gnaw on their ankles, and the flies would settle on their faces in thick swarms. The proximity of human contact and the presence of vermin helped spread diseases through the ghetto like wildfire. Many people died from typhoid and similar illnesses. Those who died were carried out of their homes and left in the streets, their corpses rotting freely and leaving a lingering smell of death and decay. The heat generated by the abundance of bodies made summers unbearable. The lack of fuel and clothes made winters equally as bad. My grandfather was forced to take clothes off of dead bodies in order to survive. The people of the Warsaw ghetto were living in a nightmare. Only they couldn't wake up. It was real. Perhaps death would have been an easier route to take than to endure the horrors that were taking place on a daily basis. As if these things weren't bad enough, the prisoners of Warsaw were under constant abuse from the Gestapo. They would patrol the streets indiscriminately, beating people up who were at the wrong place at the wrong time. My grandfather had been beaten several times, and all he could do was curl up in a ball and pray that he would survive the fist, the boots, and the butts of the Gestapo's guns. Whenever he heard a truck come, he would immediately hide until it passed. There is one story that my grandfather told me that stands out in my mind. There have been similar accounts told on the internet, so I know that he wasn't just making it up. Just picturing it gives me the chills because it shows what humans can become in times of darkness. What was the number one killer during this time? Not vermin, not disease, not even the Gestapo. It was starvation. When food ran low, people tried their best to ration their supplies. They also had to protect it from other people who wanted to eat. Fights would break out, and the stronger people got to eat that day, while the weak perished. The prisoners became emaciated skeletons whose flesh hung from their bones, and their eyes became hollow with hunger. Children wandered the streets, looking through trash for breadcrumbs to eat. And here is where my grandfather had his encounter with what he called the hungry man. My grandfather was walking at night, looking for food. It was dark. Most of the street lamps had been smashed by either the Gestapo or frustrated citizens. In the light of one of these lamps, my grandfather saw a young boy. He looked dead at first, but my grandfather could hear him moaning, so he rushed over to him. The boy had collapsed from starvation and was going to die if he did not get anything to eat soon. My grandfather had no food on him, and he frantically began to search through nearby trashes for anything that was edible. He heard someone coming from a dark alleyway. Fearing it was the Gestapo, my grandfather hid behind a wall. He glanced over it to see who was coming. From the shadows emerged what looked like a wax figure. No, it was a man dressed in rags. He was impossibly tall and thin. He walked in long, graceful strides like a dancer. My grandfather couldn't see his face from his hiding spot. He watched as this tall man approached the boy and looked around. He then stooped over the boy and began undressing him. My grandfather watched in silent horror as this mysterious man then sunk his mouth into the boy and began to eat him alive. He started from his legs and made his way up. The boy, too weak to cry out, moaned as this stranger devoured him. My grandfather felt sick. He had seen many disturbing things at this point, but none could compare to this night when he saw the hungry man gobble up a boy that was still breathing. When he was done, the man turned and disappeared into the alleyway for which he had come from. He had picked the boy clean to the bone. My grandfather never saw the hungry man after that. The ghetto was small, and a man of such height would have surely been noticed. It was like he vanished into thin air. My grandfather eventually escaped the ghetto with a resistance group and fled east. He saw more terrors during the war, but he never forgot about the hungry man and the living boy he had eaten. Even when he was out east, he kept looking back over his shoulder, not necessarily for the enemy, but for a slender man who was following him like a shadow with long, creepy strides. I tried to find more information about this hungry man, but I could find nothing. If anyone could find a story about him or knows anyone who was imprisoned in the Warsaw ghetto and could ask them, please let me know. I would like to find out more about him. Beware the hungry man. What's up, family? It's me, Fear the GreatWhite. I hope you all enjoyed that. This story is called My Grandfather Lived in a Warsaw Ghetto. It was sent in by subscriber and Reddit user Zed Belinsky. Pretty awesome story. I appreciate it. He's an awesome writer. Check out some of his other stuff and check him out on Reddit. This particular story is in Reddit No Sleep. Hope you all have had a pretty good past week or so since I've been gone. I've missed you all. It's been extremely lonely without my family. Sorry for the delay in getting videos out. I've been without technology for a week. So I'm getting back on the grind now. Hopefully I can get caught up and pump out several over the next few days. As always, I'm Fear the GreatWhite. I love you all. Bye.